Let's make a basic, simple, easy and delicious vegan cheese 3 ways. The cheese sauce, mozzarella and queso blanco. Alright, so let's get started for the basic cheese recipe. This recipe, you can even make other cheese recipes. It's very simple and basic. This recipe is very versatile. You can change flavors or make different type of cheeses, and that's what we're making today. We're gonna make 3 different ways of this cheese, really simple and easy. So I normally like to soak my cashews for 1 hour in water. I normally put it in a container like that and I leave it in the refrigerator. If you for some reason forgot to soak your cashews, put it here, you can soak them in hot water for maybe 1 to 2 hours. It depends how powerful is your blender, because if you don't have a powerful blender, I recommend soaking overnight because they will get softer. But if you have a strong blender like this one is strong, you could probably soak for 1 hour, 2 hours. So let's start for 1 cup of cashews soaked, 1 cup of water. I'm gonna use lemon juice of half lemon. For the cheesy flavor, I love using nutritional yeast. And if you notice, a lot of plant-based diet or vegan diet and recipes, they all use nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast, it's really rich in vitamin B's such as B6, B12, and it's totally different than dry yeast. It's vegan, gluten-free, so it's safe to use, and it's perfect if you're on a vegan diet because of the vitamins. And this will give you the cheesy flavor. I recommend using, but if you don't want to use, that's fine too, you can take it out. But trust me, all my cheese recipes, I use nutritional yeast. For this basic cheese sauce, I'm gonna use half tablespoon. Now salt is to taste. I'm gonna add a half teaspoon of salt. If you want to use less or more, it's up to you. I would blend this, and like this right now, it's the cheese sauce, and you can use in pastas, you can make Alfredo sauces, and from this very basic, simple recipe, that's how you can make the mac and cheese. Then you can start adding other ingredients like roasted bell peppers, more nutritional yeast. You can put cayenne, you can put other spices, and then you can create the cheese, the other cheese flavors. From this, I want to make the mozzarella cheese. I'm gonna add now 1 tablespoon of tapioca flour, and that's because we're going to cook this cheese to make thicker. When you get to the refrigerator, it will thicken, it will harden, and then you look like a mozzarella. So I'm gonna use 1 tablespoon of tapioca. But again, this is because now I'm making the mozzarella. If you don't add anything, you have the cheese sauce, and then you can use for pasta. So 1 tablespoon of tapioca flour. So we're gonna blend this right now until very creamy and smooth. Now that is very creamy, it will be perfect like for a sauce or something if you're using for pasta. I'm going to add agar, and I'm using a half tablespoon of agar. That's a vegan version instead of gelatin. If you're using agar, you can add like this right now, and we're just gonna mix. Still very creamy, everything is really well blended. We're going to put in a pan, and we're going to cook this cheese until it's start very thick and start sticking in the pan. Now that the pan is medium to low, we're gonna have to stir this and no stop, because we don't wanna burn the cheese and stick too much. We're gonna cook that around 5 minutes. Not sure, it depends. It's more like it's more about the look until you have that very thick consistency. And for this mozzarella, I'm making like the easiest, simple and basic recipe. You can also change flavors. You can add oregano, you can add chili pepper. I love like this because I love eating with pesto. You're gonna notice that it's starting like getting some clumps and it's fine, just keep stirring. It's getting really good. Our cheese is ready. If you want even thicker, you can just keep in the stove a little bit more for a little bit longer. Right now it's just perfect. Now it's ready to put in a silicone mold or any mold you have at home. I recommend silicone because it's always easy to take it out. I'm gonna use olive oil, so just to make sure the cheese won't stick. Now that's the time. If you want to just sprinkle, you can sprinkle some oregano, some chili flakes, it's up to you. This cheese, it will be good for a week, maybe even more. For a week, it's still perfect in the refrigerator. Right now they are right here, they are perfect. I can now put in the refrigerator. I left mine for overnight, maybe some couple hours. They'll start firming. When you notice that it's already firm, you can take it out from the silicone molds or any molds that you're using, and flip it and keep in the refrigerator uncovered for extra couple hours just to dry more if you'd like to. If you want to stew that cheese a little bit more, you know, like a mozzarella but a little bit more creamier, you can then cover. If you're not covering, you help to dry a little bit even more. So we already got the first recipe. That was like the basic and simple one that you can use for pasta. That was the cheesy sauce. Now we're gonna make a queso blanco. The same idea is gonna be basically the same ingredients except for the tapioca flour and the agar. But it's a queso blanco, so we're gonna add some jalapenos, onion and garlic. So let's get started on that. So again, we're gonna use 1 cup of soaked cashews, 1 cup of water. Salt again is to taste. I'm using half teaspoon. Now for the nutritional yeast, the other one I only use half tablespoon. Since I want now for a queso blanco, I want more like a cheesy flavor, a stronger flavor of cheese. I'm going to use 3 tablespoons. You can even use 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 4 tablespoons. So again, I'm going to use the juice of half lemon. We have almost everything. Now it's up to you. I love the flavor, and for queso blanco I'm adding 2 cloves garlic, but you don't have to if you don't want to, but it gives you like an extra flavor. Let's blend until very smooth and creamy again. Our queso blanco is ready, very creamy and smooth. I'm adding now a small onion. You can use even half. I got my onions. Now I'm using 2 jalapenos. I like very spicy. Again, if you don't like spicy food, so maybe this recipe is not for you, or you can use just onions or just the basic cheese you just cook to get like thicker. That's fine. It will be more like a spread cheese. Got my jalapenos and my onions. We're going to saute the onions and jalapenos just for a couple minutes until the onions get a little bit softened. You can use oil or you can use a little bit of water. It's up to you. I'm using water. I don't want to use oil for this recipe, but you can also use oil. It's up to you. My onions and jalapenos are softened. It's ready now to add the cheese sauce that we just made. Now I'm just gonna cook again for just a couple minutes until the cheese starts thickening a little bit. It won't be too thick like was the mozzarella, but will be a little bit thicker. This queso blanco is perfect for nachos. So if you're doing a nacho night, a nacho party, and you want to make it vegan, this cheese would be amazing. Or just as a dip. You can use those mozzarellas, you can make this cheese more like as a dip, and you can have chips. That's amazing too. It's almost there. You can see that it's getting a little bit thicker now. But again, it's not thicker like the mozzarella. It's better have the stove medium to low so you don't take the risk to burn. Always keep stirring. Of course, if you wanna speed up the process, you can put it a little bit higher, but just be careful to not burn your cheese. You probably have to cook this cheese for about 10 minutes. When the cheese is starting getting almost like you can see the bottom, see it like that? That actually is perfect. That should be perfect. That's how we want. Thicker, not as much as the mozzarella, but it's almost like a dip. Alright, so everything is done. I'm gonna show you now everything when it is done, and it's time to try. Queso Blanco, let's try it together. So good. This is amazing. You should do it for your next nacho party. This vegan cheese will blow your friend's mind and your mind. Now let's try the mozzarella. I'm using my vegan gluten-free sourdough bread, the vegan mozzarella, and I put some spread on top. Let's try. It's so good. This mozzarella reminds me a lot with polenguinho. Polenguinho is a very popular cheese in Brazil. I'm not sure if you have tried, but it reminds me a lot. It's soft, it's creamy, and it's light on the cheese flavor, but you can tell it feels like it's cheese. I don't know, it reminds me of polenguinho. It's amazing with bread or any other dish that calls for pesto or some real mozzarella. You can totally use this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this delicious, simple, very basic cheese recipe. It's so versatile, you can make in different ways. So today I just shared this really 3 ways how to make your own vegan cheese. If you like this video, don't forget to like, to share, and subscribe. I'll see you soon.